we all need some good news, and we try to bring you at least a chunk of that every single day, and this is a good story. Mary Otts-Rubenstein is a Chicagoan who's helping migrants with disabilities, and her life story is so much more than that. But since everybody's talking about the migrant crisis, God bless you, Mary, for what you're doing.
Thank you.
So let's get a little background here, and then we'll talk about the Bumblebee Agency. You saw, like we have seen, the problem that exists with this migrant crisis. What brings you to the disability side of it?
Yeah, so I have a daughter who is 6 years old and who is medically complex. She is quadriplegic and has 20-something doctors and medications. And so for the last 6 years, I've been very entrenched in that. And so obviously, seeing people sleeping in tents and outside of police stations, and not to mention like the rest of the news is very disconcerting, but to see another 6-year-old sleeping on the floor of a police station, just like my daughter, with a feeding tube on a yoga mat, and without any proper equipment like a wheelchair, is really, really hard. And so it really pushed me over the edge to get involved.
Yeah, and that's the difference. And I know you probably get this, but with your schedule, I don't know that you have time to reflect on it, and you don't seem like the type that would pat yourself on the back. But we see stories, and we go, oh, it's a shame. And then we move on. You're actually doing something about it. What's your message to people on actually helping when they see a problem? Yeah,
I mean, I really think that there are, first of all, that there are a lot of people out there doing really amazing things right now. There are, medical students making sure that people at the police stations are being able to be seen and by physicians, and they're picking up prescriptions for them, a lot of times with their own money. And there are other people who have made it their mission to basically clothe every person coming into the city. And so there are really a lot of people out there doing a lot of really good things. But I think kind of imagining that somebody else is going to take care of the situation in front of you, that like there's just no help coming. There's only us, right? And we really felt like, I know that a lot of the people on the ground, we see all of these wonderful families who are clear additions to our community. And we want to make sure that they are welcomed and that they have like a path forward, because this is just the reality of what's happening right now.
You are an angel, Mary. Thank you so much for stepping forward and helping these families and these kids. I was driving down St. Clair outside the Inn of Chicago, and I was like, who are all these people? And I realized these are migrants that are here. You did the same thing, and you went to the Inn of Chicago, and you met families with children who have disabilities. Talk about Juan Pablo. He's a 12-year-old that you do assist and take care of and help his family.
Yeah, so Juan Pablo, is actually really great to talk about him this morning because he gets to start school today.
Yeah, there you go.
Great.
Actually, that made me very emotional.
I understand. Of course it did.
A lot of the families, they did not ever imagine that their kids are going to go to school. And so, or get medical attention. Kids were born with disabilities, and really, as opposed to my daughter who gets like all the services in the world, these families were sent home from the hospital without any help. And so for them to really walk across seven countries to get here, just to get what their kid really wants and needs, and then to be put on a bus across our country by our government officials, and put in tents and police stations, just in the hopes that maybe their kids will get some access to school or services or medical attention, I think is just they're people we want on our team.
Right. Well, look, here's the thing that I would love for people to wrap their heads around. You're entitled to your politics, whatever your politics are. And we certainly do have an immigration problem in this country. There's no question about it. But human beings are not political poker chips. Yeah. And the way this has been played out, that's exactly what's happening. And the mismanagement of it is epic. In the meantime, lives are not being positively impacted. They're being negatively impacted to a point where for some it's actually worse here than it was from where they came. And it was really bad that they would give all their money and all their belongings to a coyote who lied to them and took them to the border to get them here. So how about some humanity? How about some there before the grace of God go I? And how about a little heart? You can have your political arguments and you can demand better immigration policy, and you should. But these are human beings, and we need to deal with the fact that they are human beings right now, right here.
Yeah, I think, a lot of us, I have certainly no idea how to solve immigration, but I know I can do this.
Yeah, you're doing something.
I know that we can take these couple dozen kids and make sure that they have dignity with a wheelchair, that they're not, a lot of them had been using, toddler strollers to carry around their 12-year-olds. So we can make sure that their kids have access to care and food and prescriptions and doctors, and they get to be part of our story.
But you can do this. This is something that you can do. And because you can, and I love that you said that, because I understand where you put your heart is what you can do. And this is where your heart is at. But you're also an inspiration to so many people. Every single person listening is thinking, wow, what have I done? And you've stepped up and and you're helping those in need. You're giving of your time and your talent to be able to help the people. And you've also started an agency called the Bumblebee Agency. Excuse me.
.com.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the Bumblebee Agency. So there is a quote that flies around the disability or parents of kids with disabilities, and that is that aerodynamically a bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly, but it does anyway. And so I started the agency just because, this isn't just a problem for migrant families. This is a problem for every family who is impacted by disability. And people who have disabilities in our country aren't themselves able to access a lot of services easily and affordably. And so we want to make sure that doctors are talking to one another, that therapies are accessible, and that parents don't end up having to just really drown under not the care of our children, right? We love our kids, and my kid is a joy and a wonder, and she is hilarious. But her care and the administration of her care is very difficult. And so to do that in a different language, in a different country is really just impossible.
Well, and I salute you. Look, it's personal for me, too. I've got a brother with special needs who's visiting now for the holidays. And growing up in the 60s, he didn't have access to the stuff that's out there now. And thank God for the stuff that's out there. For the folks who don't have access, this is, frankly, the least we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that the people with disabilities and the people who care for them have what they need. And I think that for me, what I see is when you take a family who is not white, who is not privileged, who has not grown up with money, who really has just, when I met Kenny Marr, she had just a bag. Like, that was it. Her family had, like, a garbage bag of their belongings. That we want to make sure that, like, when we work with a family like that, they test every part of our society, right? They test our hospitals, our schools, our disability resources, and it gives us really an opportunity to make all of those things better for everyone else.
The agency is at thebumblebeeagency.com. You can donate. I hope you will. I'm going to. But in the meantime, you can also refer a family. You can find out more about what's going on there. And I hope you get some sleep some year. I know it's not going to happen this year. But Mary Otts-Rubenstein, thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. And congratulations on a new school day.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. We're going to have her back.
She's great. Just
what
for
a
an
rock star.
update. And
What a rock star.
She really is. And she also has on the bumblebeeagency.com, you can also learn more about Nuestros Hijos, which is called Our Kids.
Look at you whipping out the Spanish. How about that? Important note, it's the Bumblebee Agency. Make sure you get the "the" in there.
The.
You go to Bumblebee Agency, you'll get a German advertising agency.
Was ist los?
Not the same. Not the same thing.